mind, lovesick blind. Why do I climb these heights for you?
Welcome in Day Oneers to the Day One Football Podcast. This is episode 29. I am your host, Colin Arm, with Day One Big Mike and the Day One Daddy, as always. And we're here to talk some football, and this is some footballs. This is gonna be a Week 8 review, I guess, preview. So, how you guys feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I had a good day, and Steve, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just drinking a beer. It has a fridge with a face on it, brewed in London, Ontario. Let's go. Let's get it.
Shout out. No free shout outs. Lunatic Fridge. What is that?
This beer is a nice IPA. It honestly, first taste, very average tasting IPA. If you're looking for an IPA, it's average. Lunatic Fridge, London, Ontario.
I decided to go with a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. So, just sticking with the Miller Lights.
Not a sponsor.
That's your go-to. Okay, let's talk about that news. So, first thing on the list is we talked about yesterday. Allen Robinson apparently had a concussion, but they confirmed today he is in concussion protocol for the week. They'll go day to day and see if he can play this Sunday. Mike, how confident are you feeling A-Rob in? And if not, is it a Mooney type of game or what?
I think it's a no one type of game because if A-Rob's not there, their offense is still not going to be able to do anything. So, yeah, maybe a Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet day, possibly, but I don't know. Mooney has got wide open. I was watching. I think you sent something to the group chat where, he's cooking cornerbacks, but Nick Foles just can't hit the broadside of a barn. So put Truby back in.
Oh, officially. Let's be back on the Truby train.
Yep, always.
Mike never left the Truby train. He was excited for like one snap and then saw what Foles did when he was the official starter, and Mike was like, Truby.
Yep, Truby, all day.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. The Bears stink. 5-2. You're not sorry though, right, Mike?
I am not apologizing for 5-2, as Big Cat says. You are what your record says you are. So we're 5-2 football team. So
yeah, at least you're 5-2. That's a good sign to maybe they'll make the playoffs this year ahead of schedule. Next on the list is Miles Sanders is considered day-to-day now. He's apparently jumped ahead of schedule because I'm pretty sure he was going to miss like 2 to 3 weeks. So they're saying they're monitoring him day-to-day now. There's a potential that he could be back Sunday if the week goes well. What are you guys thinking? Is he going to be in or out? Are we going to still see Boston Scott type of day, or is he going to actually play on Sunday?
From what I see here, he didn't participate in practice today, but if he is day to day, then it could possibly mean that he comes back in. But honestly, the best thing I can say right now is just to monitor it, see if he participates in like today, as in Thursday's practice, and see if he participates in Fridays, and maybe take a chance. But I don't know, Steve. What are you seeing here?
I don't expect him to play. I think that they should rest him. But that's just me being a smart person, and coaches make dumb decisions sometimes. So it's not like, the Eagles do still have a chance to make the playoffs somehow. Somehow they still have a chance to make the playoffs. So if he's healthy enough that it's not going to hurt him long term, they'll probably play him. But they really shouldn't. It is going to be a very bad game, and I'm not excited to watch it at all. So I'm a Miles Sanders owner. I really like him. He has been dominant this year when he's played. So hopefully he gets back on track and helps me win a championship end of season. Colin?
Yeah, that's the whole NFC East. So they always have a shot. Someone's gonna get him with like a 5-11 record. So whatever. Um, I guess we go on to another Eagles news here. Is Dallas Goddard has been activated for a 21-day practice window, which is a weird thing that I've never seen before. But it's just he has a 21-day window to apparently come back and try to practice, I guess. And if not, he goes back in the IR. Which is weird because he was projected to come back this week, but I guess there's been a setback, and they're going to just take it day to day and see if he can even come in and actually practice. Mike, what are you thinking? Is it Rodgers, right? That he actually had a decent week. Do you think he's going to continue to produce if Goddard's out?
He will continue to produce if Goddard's out. Usually, this is kind of the case where they activate someone for a 21-day window. It's just you don't really hear about it because I find they're activating Goddard a bit early in the timeline, but I know they did have a projection that he was supposed to be back this week, but most people didn't think he was going to be and thought maybe it'd take another week. So I think that's why they activated him off the IR, and you have 21 days to get back into being activated for a game, from what I remember. I don't know. These rules are all weird this year with COVID, with the 3-week IR and everything. But Steve, do you see anything with Goddard that I'm missing?
No, I don't see him playing this week. Him and Jalen Reg are both in the same idea, right? They're both on the 21-day practice thing. But from what I understand, both of them I still don't expect to play this week because they have a bye next week, and I think we'll see them week 10. I honestly heard week 10 for Goddard anyways. I think early, like when he first got hurt, they said as early as, but probably week 10 would be when he comes back because of the bye week at 9. Colin?
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next one. Chris Carson apparently will be a game time decision. I guess, do you guys think he's going to play? And if not, I guess it's a DJ Dallas game. But what are you guys thinking about that?
I personally don't see it. I think I said yesterday that the best case scenario would be to have DJ Dallas play and kind of get a run at it. But I did hear that Carlos Hyde's hamstring was not a big issue, so he could possibly start. But I'd say just to monitor it. You really don't know what Pete Carroll's going to do. You never actually know what Pete Carroll's going to do, even if the running backs are healthy. So when they're not, you for sure have no idea. So Steve, what are you seeing here?
I just had a question for you too, because I don't know. Chris Carson seems to always be injured, and it's a common thing in the last couple of years. But what has this guy taken this year to literally be injured and doctors to say, hey, this guy's going to be out, a month? Like, remember when the guy grabbed his legs and twisted and people were like, he's done for the year. And then the guy's back next week. And then this one again, like people were like, yeah, he's gone 2 to 3 weeks probably. And then they're like, oh, but he has a chance to play on Sunday right after an injury. What is this guy doing differently this year? Like, what is this guy taking, Mike?
He must be doing some yoga. Must be sleeping in a hyperbolic chamber. Maybe some meditation. Maybe some maybe some Advil. Decrease the. No, I honestly have no idea. This guy is he's superhuman.
He's built different. He's just
like I honestly have no idea. Like, do you guys agree with me? Right? Like these doctors that are watching this and saying this guy should be out for weeks at a time, and then all of a sudden they're like, he's probably gonna play.
It could just be their doctors being bad.
Or he should just be grateful that they have great doctors, considering the charges of a doctor that'll puncture your lung.
Oh, true. I mean, that Advil that these guys take is just very numbing, and
they must have the extra strength. Like that stuff works.
Double extra strength.
They got some Russian doctors, and they're like, "You're good.
Yeah.
Just inject you with something real quick."
Wasn't Russia banned from the Olympics for doing steroids?
No,
Yeah.
dude, they're taking the Russian gas.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They brought it over to the football players now. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So a limited player this week, Devonta Freeman worked on the sideline dealing with his ankle injury. Do you think there's a chance he plays Monday against the Bucs, or is it going to be Wayne Gallman?
I see it as a Wayne Gallman week. I don't think they want to really rush Devontae Freeman, and I mean their team already sucks, so it's not a big deal. Sorry to all you Giants fans to break the news, but your team sucks. I kind of probably assume you already knew that, but I see him as coming back next week. But Steve, what are you seeing?
I agree. I don't think that he'll be back or I hope he isn't back this week. I hope because I have him in fantasy, and I want him to be healthy and to play and not play 40% of the snaps when I start him. So I want him to actually play. But we already brought this up. That division is terrible. The Giants are bad, but they still have a very good shot if they go on a run at some point to make the playoffs. So because that division is just awful. So if they have a chance to win the game, maybe you see Devonta Freeman play a little bit. Do not start him at all. He is not startable. If Devonta Freeman is active, do not start Wayne Gallman either. Do not start anybody on that team. Thank you, Colin.
That is Stephen with the New York Giants PR report. Do not start anyone. Thank you. So yeah, we'll move on to the not practicing list. Joe Mixon with his foot injury still. Is it another Geo week, or do you think Mixon potentially plays? I mean, it's Wednesday, so that's not looking good. But what are your thoughts on that?
I have no idea. This foot injury, we didn't really get an update from it. They said they were waiting back for more tests, and then nothing came out. So monitor it. I really don't know, Steve.
Yeah, I thought Mixon was going to play last week, so do not listen to what I say about Joe Mixon. If he's active, you play him. If he's not active, Gio is definitely a good start to throw in your lineup. So definitely monitor it. He's still not practicing right now, so you'll have to figure it. You'll have to read the reports Thursday, Friday to see if he's going to be in. Colin.
Yeah. So another injury. Aaron Jones has his calf injury still. He's also not practicing. There's a high chance they probably don't risk it because they have Jamal Williams. What do you guys do if you're an Aaron Jones owner? Do you try to trade him? Because I know, let's put in this. He's not going to go back to the Packers probably. It's his contract year. Do you think this could be the beginning of the end of Aaron Jones, or do you think he finds a suitable team next year? Because he looks good. He looked like he's a elite running back, and then they have a really good O-line and all that stuff there. And for some reason LaFleur doesn't like him, but now he's dealing with this injury. What do you think the news is moving on here? Do you try to move from him before the deadline, or do you just hold?
In season long, I'm keeping him, but in a dynasty, I might look to ship him off, but I don't see a way he leaves the Packers, to be totally honest. I don't. I think he stays with them. I think he takes whatever contract he can get personally, because a lot of running backs are getting locked up, and that means a lot of teams don't really want to spend the money. But Steve, are you seeing the same, or am I completely off?
I can't see Green Bay getting rid of Aaron Jones, even if that means paying up for him. He's been so efficient and so dominant with them for the last 3 years that they would be stupid to get rid of him. I'd be okay with them cutting Williams just to pay Aaron Jones a little bit extra, because AJ Dillon is a suitable backup. He's really hasn't done too much this year, only 18 rushing attempts, but it would be stupid to get rid of. He's been the most efficient running back in the last 2 years in all of football, maybe other than Alvin Kamara, who's just that's the pass catching work. So I like Aaron Jones. I'm probably trading for him because he's been injured, and I think he's going to be dominant. I think Green Bay is going to go back to the running game when he comes back, and he's still a top 5 guy in fantasy, and he hasn't played all the games this season. So I love Aaron Jones. Colin?
I don't see him coming back, but I agree, Steven. I think he has the talent, but the Packers are kind of stupid, and I feel like they probably don't pay him, but I guess we'll see in a few months. Next on the list, Mark Ingram dealing with an ankle injury again. That being said, they're coming off their bye week. They play the Steelers. Are you guys willing to play a Gus Edwards or a J.K. Dobbins? Or are you going to hold on those guys? It'll be interesting to see now that Ingram's gone if they use those guys more often. I know that Lamar can use his legs as well, but he's trying not to as much this year, it looks like. That being said, are you guys more interested in a Gus Edwards week to week right now or the J.K. Dobbins side of it?
I really tried to stay away from this backfield, and I really wouldn't want any of them, to be totally honest. I think if I was someone holding J.K. Dobbins, I would, in a season long, of course, I would try and almost move him with a little bit of hype building that he's going to get some carries, or same if you have a Gus Edwards, maybe try and move him for more of a steady running back. But I don't know. I would probably play Gus Edwards if I had to play one of the two, but preferably I would want to wait a week and maybe see what's going on. But Steve, are you agreeing or disagreeing?
I don't want either of them on my roster. I like the talent of both of them. Both of them are very talented. But if you look at the snap percentages throughout the year, between those two, neither of them hit over 50%. So I don't want either of them. Also, their end of season schedule is very tough. The Steelers twice, the Colts, New England, Cleveland. The Giants have been decent on defense too. Like their last 8 games, they're going to be rough, and I don't want anybody on that back. You know what? I don't own Lamar Jackson, but I don't even know if I'd want to start Lamar Jackson the way he's played this year. So, Colin?
Yeah, he's been a little bit of a dud, but I mean, I don't think you can really compare anything to his last year, considering how much rushing yards he had and everything. It was just a different animal, but he's a capable passer. I don't think there's any issue there. I think he's just not what you guys would expect he was, considering he was the QB1. So, yeah, going off their backfield, I agree. I don't think I'd want to trust either or right now. I'm more interested in the J.K. Dobbins aspect because I know he will be the RB1 on that team probably next year because Gus and Ingram are both up at the end of the season. I don't think they both come back. I think Ingram's pretty much done at this point. He's 32. He hasn't looked good at all this year. That being said, we'll see. But let's move on to the next thing on the list. We got Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Marquez Callaway, all not practicing today. Earlier in the week, it's early in the week, but are you guys scared for the Saints? Like, besides that, they have Traquan Smith, Jared Cook, and Kamara, which, I mean, will probably be all plays considering it's Kamara and Cook for sure. But Traquan Smith, are you guys interested in potentially playing him in a flex or a wide receiver 2 role? Considering if those 3 guys are out, that's all really they have on the outside.
I'm agreeing with you. I think Traquan is a must start this week. If all 3 of those do end up missing the game, I did like Callaway. He looked pretty decent. He's a great route runner, and I think that he really picked up the slack. But I really don't like seeing him not practicing. But it could be a rest day. He could be dealing with some pain or anything like that. But I think Kamara is an absolute smash play this week against the Bears. For some reason, as I said all year, the Bears are a bend don't break defense. They used to be elite, and I mean I've gone up and down on the Bears, so I really just don't know what's going on because some games they look great, some games they don't. But yeah, Steve, what are you seeing here with Cook, Traquan, and yeah.
Cook is a must play this week with all of the injury woes to the Saints. Even if everybody is active, it doesn't mean they're going to be healthy. And I think Cook is still going to be a great play. The Bears defense has been very good, but I think that the Saints offense is very good as well. So with Breeze getting the ball out of his hands so quickly, I think that's gonna help him out, and he's gonna torch the Bears, in my opinion. Colin?
Yeah. Let's move on to the last point here before we go to the football news. So it's New York Jets and they just can't catch a break. Rashad Perriman and Jameis Crowder both not practicing. Perriman's has a concussion protocol as well, and Crowder is dealing with a groin injury still. So, are the Jets just the worst, or what? Like, maybe these guys are just saying they have an injury when they don't, just so they don't have to play. Like what do you even see out of that? Now the two wide receivers that actually had value, like me and Mike talked this last week, I believe. Like these guys we actually like think had value fantasy wise. Now they don't. There's just no one you really want to touch. But what are you guys thinking on the Jets overall? Like what do you go from here?
It's a no from me. Steven, you go.
The Jets stink, but you know what? I might take a shot on Mims. Actually, I know Mike has been thinking about Mims a little bit. Been thinking pretty hard. Sent me a couple trade. Not that I have Mims, but a couple potential trades that he's been looking at in acquiring Mims, and he's only played one game. Looked pretty good, so keep an eye on him. I'm not saying pick him up by any means or trade for him, but keep an eye on him.
That was more for Dynasty. I really liked his tape from the first game. I loved his. Honestly, this is gonna sound weird. This is gonna make me sound like a nerd, but I really loved his downfield blocking.
You liked his ass?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's probably nice, but whatever. I really liked his downfield blocking, and I really liked the small things he did. You could say, oh well, his stats weren't really that good, which is fair, but I think that those things keep him on the field. And when you're on the field, you can get fantasy points. And I like the fantasy points, of course. But I was looking at picking him up. I believe the one trade that I sent Steven, because I usually like to run my trades past someone to make sure I'm not losing my mind. But I believe the owner hasn't answered yet. So we'll see how that goes. And maybe I'll have a trade offer to talk about next week.
Wasn't it Christian McCaffrey for Denzel Mims straight up?
Yeah. And actually, I gave all my first round picks too.
Oh yeah, Christian McCaffrey and 3 first rounders for Mims and Adam Gase.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was trading for Adam Gase because I want all of his players.
Yes, I remember that one. But yes, Colin, can we move on from the yucky Jets, please?
Yeah, let's go into the football news here. First thing on the list is Dalvin Cook will be active in Week 8 matchup after missing 2 weeks with the groin injury. Do you guys see him playing a lot of snaps, or do you think they're going to limit his snaps this week, or how do you guys think that's going to go?
I see if he does come back, I see him having limited snaps. I really don't know what to do. Steve, what are you seeing here?
I think we're just going to have to keep an eye on the practice reports because right now he's still limited. If he doesn't get a full practice in and he's active, I think you're going to see him split time with Madison. And it doesn't help that Madison is a very capable backup, and Madison was going to get snaps anyways. But I think if you see one full practice out of Dalvin Cook, I think you're going to see probably 60 to 70% of the snaps, and that's good enough to start him every week. So that's my opinion, Colin.
Yeah, I think Cook will play mostly. I think he could have played last week. Obviously, they had a bye week, so I think that's good timing for him to have this injury. And I think he'll be fine. Madison looks really good when he's in. I don't think it'll be a full split, but I think Cook will definitely play majority of the snaps. But we'll see. Moving on, we got Antonio Brown will be ready for Week 9. We'll miss this week's game against the Giants on Monday, but they said that he's going to be ready for Week 9, and that means we'll have AB back in the league. What do you guys see potentially him being the rest of the season? Could he potentially be like a league winner, or is he going to be kind of a dud?
It's hard to say because Mike Evans just doesn't seem to work with Tom Brady. And I think Antonio Brown showed some promise with him last year, and I think he fits into that offense really well. I see him as being a better, this is going to sound terrible, but a better Chris Godwin for Tom Brady. Because I think that Chris Godwin is great, but I think Antonio Brown does things that he can't. and does them good for Tom Brady. But Steve, what are you seeing with this whole Antonio Brown situation?
You know what? It's very tough, and I'm sure Antonio Brown is in great shape right now. But so is Gronk. We don't know what kind of football shape he's in. Game shape is a lot different than just being in shape. So week 9, I don't own him, but if I were to own him, I'm not playing him. I want to see what it's like on the field. I want to see if he's going to get 60-70% of the snap percentages, or is he going to be splitting time with whoever their third guy is right now, Scotty Miller or Tyler Johnson, depending on because Mike Evans will be out there, and we know that if Godwin's healthy, he'll be out there. But is Antonio Brown going to be, the third wide receiver on the field, the full game? We have no idea right now. So I'm going to take a pass. I'm not spending my fab money on him. But if you need a guy, if you desperately need a wide receiver, then I'm okay with you spending some money on him. But I'm going to pass. Colin?
I think they probably put him on the outside, and they moved Godwin into the slot. I don't know if Godwin was in the slot already, but I think that's how they're going to play it. Godwin's slot with Evans and him on the outsides. That being said, I think he probably gets a good amount of targets, but it'll be interesting to see how they use him overall. And I agree, Steven. I wouldn't play him right away, but him and Brady, like Mike said, had a little bit of chemistry in the first game. But granted, last year when they did play, when Antonio Brown did play that one game with the Patriots, it was against the Dolphins, that horrendous team that literally could not stop anyone. So that could have probably played in a factor, but we'll see. I mean, almost a year and a half out of football for Antonio Brown. So yeah, like Steven said, game shape. We'll see how it happens, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out the rest of the year with the Bucs. Do you guys think the Bucs are Super Bowl contenders?
I see them as contenders with a pause. I think that there are some issues that you saw in the Bears game. Like, a Bears team should not be able to beat them. Like, I love the Bears, but they shouldn't be able to win that game. I think that there are some issues, but I think they will be ironed out by the time playoffs come. But for some reason, I just don't see them as a Super Bowl winning team, to be totally honest. Steve?
Okay, just before I answer that question, Mike and Colin, I just want to ask you realistically, if you say there are 4 teams that are Super Bowl contenders, you can reach up to 6 teams that you could consider Super Bowl contenders. We're going to go top 4 right now. Who are your top 4 Super Bowl contenders? A team that the top 4 that you have. Mike, you go first.
I see the Steelers. I see the Titans. Steelers, Chiefs. And then I see the Saints and the Packers, personally.
No Baltimore?
I don't see Baltimore beating either the Chiefs or the Steelers. I really just don't. I think the Steelers are one of the most complete teams in the NFL. They somehow got better on offense, and Big Ben was a big reason why, but he's balling out this year, and I think the Steelers win the Super Bowl this year, and that can be a hot take, but honestly, they're undefeated. I really don't see them doing anything but winning the Super Bowl. Colin?
If we're picking 2 out of each,
He's going to go to the Browns.
Oh, Browns, baby, let's go. No, I agree, Mike. I would pick the Chiefs and the Steelers out of the AFC and NFC. I would go out of the West entirely. I think it's Arizona and Seattle, the top 4 for me for Super Bowl contender. But I also agree with you. I think Steelers win it, and that's really shitty to say because I am a Browns fan and that's a division rival. But I agree. They're just the most complete team. That defense is just lethal. And with Big Ben there, if he stays healthy the whole season, that offense just clicks with him for some reason. And when he's gone, they look like they're abysmal. But I think this is the year they win again. I was reading a stat, or I was thinking they were talking about it like between halftime on the. I think it was Sunday when I was watching the Browns. They were talking about the Steelers and how this team hasn't looked this complete since their 09 team when they beat the Cardinals for the Super Bowl. So, I think it's their time again, and Tomlin's a great coach, so I would pick the Steelers for sure. But yeah, we'll see this weekend though, Mike, seeing if the Ravens can compete with them because those two play each other. So that'll be a really good game to watch Sunday. If you're looking for a game to watch, I'd recommend the Steelers versus the Ravens. Steven, what do you think about your top four?
I'm gonna throw Baltimore and Tampa Bay both in my top four, and then I'm gonna follow it up with the Chiefs. And this is tight. I like the Steelers. I think the Steelers are great. I think they have overachieved this year a little bit. I don't think they have been really good, but undefeated is a little bit of a stretch for me. Their defense is phenomenal, but their best linebacker is done for the season. So somebody will fill in. It's the Steelers. Their defense is always dominant, and that'll be fine. So I'm torn right now for my fourth spot between the Steelers and the Packers. I'm probably going to go, oh man, I have them so equal. Both of their offenses are both really good, but not great. And both of their defense, or the Steelers' defense is probably the best in the league, but the Green Bay's defense is also really good. I'm probably going to go with the Steelers as my fourth. I think Kansas City probably is going to repeat. I think Baltimore is going to turn it around second half of the season. They're going to have some really tough matchups getting ready for the playoffs, and then they're going to roll. And then Tampa Bay from what I remember, they have a really easy schedule end of season. So I think Tampa Bay is going to roll into the playoffs and look dominant too. So yeah, that's where I have it. But we can get back to our football news, Colin. Sorry for the distraction.
No, it was a good conversation. So you're loving the AFC then. You have no love for the NFC at all.
Actually, I wanted to bring up, do you guys have any wild card teams that are like kind of not in the top 8 right now that you could see? You already called it Arizona. They're sitting 10th in the entire league right now. That's a good call. Mike, do you see anybody kind of like floating around mid-pack of the league that you think could bounce up?
I see one that can slide down, and that's the Bears. But I honestly could see the 49ers. But the only issue is their defense. That's the big issue that I see. And I don't know. I could do a hot take, and I think the NFC East wins one game of the playoffs. One game, and that's it. I'm cool with just that. But yeah, the NFC East, one of the NFC East teams that makes the playoffs will win their wild card game.
That is a bold. What if one of them just goes on a tear end of season and somehow makes it to get a bye? Is that even possible at this point?
Hey, does that count as a win?
Oh, of course.
Well, then I'm good.
But yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go with the Saints. You already brought the Saints up, and they're sitting 14th in the entire league right now.
Well, that went with my Super Bowl contenders, so I just kind of didn't count that.
I'm actually looking at the Rams. I think the Rams are a little undervalued right now. They're in the toughest division in all of football, and they still have a 5-2 record, and they have a plus 52 point differential, which is it's dominant in the league. So I think the Rams right now are probably my wild card team to kind of push for a maybe not a Super Bowl, but at least make it to the Super Bowl. So let's get moving now. We can push on.
Okay, so moving on. Apparently the Texans have been fielding a lot of calls. The Packers are very interested in Will Fuller, and also teams have been interested in Randall Cobb. But would you guys like to see Cobb back in Green Bay since him and Rodgers had that chemistry so it feels so long ago, but it really isn't. The guy's only like 29, the wide receiver. So what do you guys think? What do you think about Cobb and Fuller? Or do you just want to talk about Fuller? I don't really care.
I just honestly want to talk about Fuller. I think Fuller on the Packers would be deadly. He kind of gives them something that they don't have right now. They have the underneath guy in Devontae Adams, the guy who can route run and everything. And I think Fuller taking the top off with Aaron Rodgers throwing probably the second most beautiful deep ball next to Russell Wilson with his moon balls. But I think that would be an absolute deadly combo, and I really honestly wouldn't like the Texans to trade Will Fuller. I think he works in that system, but that's just me. Steve, what are you seeing here?
I think if they were to get rid of somebody, it would be Randall Cobb. I think Will Fuller is younger and just much more dominant in the league. I can't see them getting. They're still, this year's a little bit of a write off. Mike's cracking open another beer. Mike, what kind of beer is that? Can you?
That would be another great tasting, less filling Miller Lite.
Okay, wonderful.
Not a sponsor.
And Cobb is not hashtag not a sponsor. But yeah, I think Fuller is just younger. He's more dominant. You can't trade away your two best wide receivers and still ask Watson to be dominant and elite. So I think if anybody were to go, it's going to be Randall Cobb. Would I like to see Will Fuller play with Aaron Rodgers? Of course, Aaron Rodgers would they wouldn't be fair. That team would obviously be a Super Bowl favorite almost at that point. So I think Randall Cobb might go somewhere. I don't think the Packers, but I think because Alan Lazard is coming back shortly, from what I remember. So I think Randall Cobb might go somewhere though. Colin,
What about Brandon Cooks though?
who's gonna want Brandon Cooks?
No, not trade him. You said you're going to trade. Why would they trade both those guys? They still have Brandon Cooks. He's good.
He's also one concussion away from being dead.
Hey, what did I say he was going to be this year? Didn't I say he was like a top not 10 receiver in fantasy? I projected him out to be. He's number 23 right now.
So that's almost 10.
Almost.
He had a 30-point game and a 20-point game. That other than that, he's been trash.
That's fine. Maybe he continues to do that.
But he does play Jacksonville next week. He could put up a 50-point game and boost himself into the top 10.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm making moves here. I'm calling my shot. No, yeah, I can't see them just randomly trading both those guys either, Steven, just because you need Watson to have talent around him still. You can't just be like, yeah, you go throw the scrubs now and have fun trying to make this work. But remember when Kiki QT was a thing for like a week? I miss him.
Yeah,
bring
for a
him
week.
back.
Yeah, and then he dies.
Yeah,
he comes out for a week and then dies.
Kenny Stills is still on the team, and he's decent. Like, he's still an NFL wide receiver.
Speaking of Jacksonville, Doug Maroon plans to make changes after their bye this week before they play the Texans.
The color maroon?
The color, like burgundy?
Maroon.
Yeah, come on. You listen to PMT, you should know that.
Yeah,
come on.
Maroon.
Jeans Fridays, let's go.
Do you guys think Minshew gets sat? Like, what is he talking about changes?
You guys saw what I posted in the Twitter chat, right? Like how Minshew's stats, I'll put him around like QB 18 on the year. Right? You guys read that?
Yeah, no, I saw it. It looked good.
You know what? He can put himself with Brown QB 18, but they're going to bring in the 6'6", 236-pound quarterback out of Oregon State, Jake Luton. Or Luton. I don't know how to say it, but I'm usually the person with the names, but I legitimately have no idea who this guy is.
230?
Oh, he's huge. He's a massive boy. He's a thick boy. But basically, a lot of people in Dynasty were picking this guy up because they think Minshew's going to get benched, and that's probably not. That could be a thing. They could at least try him out, maybe make Minshew expendable and maybe trade him to the Bears.
Man,
you're so boy Nick Foles.
They're so dumb if they're going to sit their best player, arguably. Like, come on, like.
Yo, Mike,
what has done against them?
I just wanted to point this out.
Yeah,
I just wanted to point this out. How much did you say you weighed?
Did I say 236? Because that's what I said, I think.
Yeah, Cam Newton is like 250 and like 6'5".
Yeah, so this guy's Cam Newton, baby.
This is the new Cam Newton?
Well, he was a running quarterback in college. He was an option quarterback, and him and Chuba worked well together, from what I remember. Chuba doesn't go there. But yeah, he actually looked pretty decent on his tape in college, but honestly, everyone can look good. Trubisky looked good, so that just
maybe they do a 180. They're like, hey James, you're doing good, but we're gonna throw in Ozigbo. Have fun. You're gonna sit on the bench now. You want to draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jaguars. So you really never know what the hell is going on there.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
agree.
it's just a dumpster fire. But I got one thing. We were talking about receivers, and I saw this today on Twitter getting debated. If you had to start a franchise with a wide receiver, who would you take out of DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin?
Oh, I saw that. Wasn't there a third option in Calvin Ridley in that?
I think they might have added a third option, but yeah, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, or Terry.
Oh,
Do,
And
did you want me to go first?
yeah, get Steve to
Terry.
go first. 'Cause
Terry, 100%.
there we go.
DK has one of the best QBs throwing to him since he started his career. And Terry has been dominant and has shown how dominant he is with Haskins and Kyle Allen. And who threw him the ball last year? Keenum?
Case Keenum.
Case.
Yeah,
He looked
so-
really good with Case for some
But
reason.
yes, so my opinion, like even if you throw Calvin Ridley makes it a lot closer. I might take Calvin Ridley there, but between DK and Scary, I'm taking Scary all day.
Yeah, when you can be a top 12 quarter or top 12 receiver with basically me playing quarterback, I'm definitely taking you. So I think DK is a great player, but I think he lucked into the best situation, like Steve said. And even Calvin Ridley, he almost seems to disappear in some games. I mean, he already threw up a goose egg this year. So, Colin, are you agreeing and taking Terry? Or are you gonna
Oh yeah,
put
100%.
some difference in this?
No, 100%. I'm picking Terry. The thing is, like, let's just do a 180 here and flip those two receivers. Do you think DK does what he's doing with the fucking football team? No,
God, no.
no chance. I also don't think Terry does what he does with Russ, 'cause I don't think he'd be that type of receiver for him, like down the stretch. But
He stretches the field like no other. He's
I
so
think
fast.
I think it'll be interesting. But like, yeah, I definitely agree. I'd rather have McLaurin all day. Like, this guy is a great receiver. So yeah, just imagine if he had a really good quarterback. But
Could you
I
could
agree.
you
I would just
imagine being an
I would take-
expert and saying that Terry McLaurin's going to come in and only do special teams? Like, what were they thinking? But
I remember.
we'll go on to the next one. If
remember
you want to keep going.
We can just kill the last one. Who cares about this last point? But no one cares about that player. We're not even gonna mention his name. You don't even know. Now you have to guess. Have fun with that. No, but like, imagine, like, I remember I picked him up last year after week 1 when he blew up, and I was trying to trade him. And people were like, I don't want this fucking scrub. And then he just continued to do it. I'm like, this guy's good. And you guys are all dumb for just not taking the trade I offered. But yeah, I love Terry.
I got him for the 8th overall pick last year. I think it was about mid-season. My team was struggling, so it looked like a high pick, and then Terry absolutely went off and got me in the playoffs. And then
Did you lose in the first round?
and then I lost because my team
or,
just completely shit the bed.
But who'd you lose to, Mike?
I lost to the Broncos, I think,
King Potato or something like that.
because my linebacker tore his pec in the first snap.
Yes. Yes, he did. And I beat you by like 3 points, and your linebacker would have gotten you at least 15.
At least.
I got some trick or trades if you guys want to do those.
Let's do it.
All right, first one. Dynasty, 1 QB, half PPR. Stefan Diggs, Tyreek Hill for Devonta Freeman, DJ Chark, and Swift.
All right, so Stefan Diggs. Sorry, I couldn't focus after that one.
Stefan Diggs, Tyreek Hill. I got, and then the other
Or-
team has Devonta Freeman, Chark, and Swift.
Oh, that's
Yes.
that's a terrible trade, honestly.
Did you say Dynasty?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd rather have the Chark Swift. Maybe not actually.
I think I don't know. I think I'd rather see. I thought the guy trading Devontae away won the trade, so I think that's an actual trade because I think it can go either way.
Yeah, I think it's a trade.
It is a trade.
Let's go.
Yeah, it doesn't sound terrible because Swift has so much potential. Chark, if they can figure out their offense, Chark has a bunch of potential too. But you're getting, two known receivers in Diggs, and it sounds like a rebuild for the one team.
Yeah, 2 elite
I-
receivers.
I offered OBJ for Swift and got laughed out of the room. So, yeah.
Is that 3 towards ACL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
You could get
So-
Dobbins, maybe.
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 Okay, so the next trade I have, Zeke Elliott, Tyler Boyd, Jonnu Smith, for Odell Beckham, Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt. And this is I think it's a redraft. Yeah, redraft league. No, not redraft, sorry. This is a keeper league, and it's 12-team, half PPR as well. I think this was right before Odell tore his ACL too, so this trade.
Probably.
Imagine it before he tore his ACL. I've had these
Steve,
stored on my phone.
You
for a
go
little
first, buddy.
See, this is a tough one because you're throwing a guy that's injured right now in this equation who pretty much has no trade value in a keeper league because if it's a 3-man keeper, like most likely you're not even keeping OBJ. He's not really a third. I mean, might be a 3rd-round pick still, but I wouldn't keep him. So I'm going to say you seem to struggle with what kind of league this was. That I don't know. Is he throwing us off, Mike? Is he just saying that to throw us off?
See, I noticed that too. He was like,
It's a
but he usually struggles with the players when he's lying. So I'm just looking at the Skype just to see what he does.
Guy's sounding a little sus right now, eh?
Yeah, a little sus. But I'm gonna go Trick.
You know what? One of us is gonna have to get this right because I'm gonna go trade.
It is a trade.
Come on. He was looking a little sus.
See me flexing over? Yeah, the guy is
I
sus.
know.
Guy plays too much
sus.
Among Us. Not a
Oh,
sponsor.
Great game. No, not a sponsor.
Not as good.
That's all that's all I have. But here's another one, Mike, that I want to just know your opinion on it. Kenyon Drake in a 1st-round pick in a dynasty for Saquon Barkley. Would you say that was a trick or a trade?
I'd say that's a trick because it's awful.
It was a trade in our league, me and Steven's dynasty league.
Yep.
How disgusting. You want to hear a fun fact that actually threw me off for a loop yesterday? I couldn't believe it. Kenyon Drake is 3rd in the league in rushing right now.
Yeah, rushing yards.
Yeah, couldn't believe it.
No one cares about rushing yards.
I know, but I just couldn't believe it that he was 3rd in the league. 512 yards. I'm sure that one game where he ran for like 150 yards helped him a lot.
Where he had the nice touchdown, the 69-yarder.
Yeah, to blow the over and the under.
69.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys? Steven, you got
Also,
anything?
shout out to Cody Parkey. I had Bengals plus 3.5, and he missed the extra point to cash my bet. So shout out to him. I wanted to kill him before. Now it's okay. The double doink is forgiven-ish.
Steven, do you have anything to quiz us on before the end of the show here?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up some this or that. Pretty much, I'm just going to name 2 players, and you're going to tell me who you want this week. So we're going to start with the Rams duo with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Who do you want, and why do you want them?
Colin, you're up.
I want Robert Woods, and that's just because I think he has more value overall between the two. It's more. I just like how Woods has more like dual threat option. He does get some carries on the ground recently, and he has the potential to blow up. He had a few very good weeks in a row. This past week against the Bears, he didn't look that great, but I mean, no one really did. It was like Mike said, it was more of a defensive battle, anyways. But overall, I'd rather have Woods going forward. I think he's just a more solid option. I think Kupp is more of a boom or bust. But that's my opinion on it.
Going forward, I'd rather have Bobby Trees. I'd rather have Robert Woods. But for this upcoming game against Miami, I'd rather have Cooper Kupp. To be totally honest, I think this is a boom game. He's been kind of down for the past couple weeks. He went 2 weeks, then a couple boom games, and then 3 weeks, and I think he goes a couple more boom games after the bye week and everything.
Okay, very valid. I agree with Mike. I think this is going to be a Cooper Cup week, but I do think Robert Woods bounces back from his game last week. Next is the Cincinnati duo of Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins against Tennessee.
Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I like T. Higgins. Honestly, everyone should know that I'm on the T. Higgins train, and I'm just probably never hopping off. But I love this matchup in Tennessee. I think he is really starting to balloon this start into a every week starter. To be totally honest, he was okay for like from about week 2. He had a big game week 3, then was kind of okay for a bit, and then had 2 15-plus point games. Tyler Boyd has really only had the one in the past 3 weeks, so I like T. Higgins in this matchup, but really it could go either way, but I personally would have T. Higgins. How about you, Colin?
I think I would prefer Tyler Boyd, and I think both options are very good. But Tyler Boyd right now is a top 10 fantasy wide receiver, and he's been just eating targets week in and week out. I think they both have a lot of fantasy relevance moving forward, with Joey B slinging it for 300 yards a game. But I think just with the target share, I think it's more of a Tyler Boyd type of year, at least until I think T. Higgins has shown that he's an up and coming guy for sure. But I think I just prefer the more safer option out of those guys with a Tyler Boyd. I think the guy catches, he has a good chance to catch 8 or 9 balls a game. He gets targeted nonstop. And I just can't wait till it's an AJ Green week, because that's probably going to come up out of nowhere. But definitely Tyler Boyd for me.
It definitely depends on what kind of point system you're playing as well. Like T. Higgins is great for half PPR or standard, but Tyler Boyd's definitely a PPR monster. But Steve, next one if you got another one.
Including AJ Green, if we're talking about missing tackles and leaving them, I think he gets a lot of points too.
Oh, he definitely rips in those leagues.
Yeah.
So my last this or that, and this is steering away from the team debate. This is going to go on rookies with Jerry Jeudy against the Chargers or Henry Ruggs against Cleveland.
Ooh, that is rough. I'm going to let Colin go first.
Can I just opt out?
I can go. I can go if you want.
I know I can go. I just I don't like either option really. Jerry Jeudy personally, I think it's just been unfortunate with how targets have been going to him, but he's shown that the route running ability is dominant. The Chargers defense is really good. So I'd prefer Ruggs in the situation, because Ruggs is a burner and he just needs 1 or 2 catches to really blow up. Depending who's covering him, that's the question going into this game. I'm not sure if the Browns are going to have Denzel Ward on him or Money Mitchell. If it's Money Mitchell, 100% I would take Ruggs, because Denzel Ward is a dominant corner. But yeah, that guy has burner speed, and if he gets open for one play, that guy's going to get a touchdown and a big long, I can see it already, 60-yard touchdown to Henry Ruggs, and he'll win the week just off of that. Because I don't think nothing against Drew Lock. We talked about him last week. I just don't. That offense doesn't look very there's nothing really going on connection wise between him and Jeudy yet, and it's just a really tough defense to go up against. So I think I'd have to take Ruggs personally. But Mike, what are you thinking?
I'm taking Ruggs. I think that he's going to have a similar touchdown where Derek Carr throws a bomb right over Sendejo's head.
Yep.
Because that happens at least once a game, and if it's going to be a deep ball, it's going to be either Henry Ruggs or Nelson Aguilar could maybe pop up, but I think Ruggs has a pretty decent game against the Browns defense, because you can say that the Browns pass rush is absolutely insane, which it is, but the Raiders offensive line is just disgusting. It'd be whether Trent Brown, the guy with the greatest tattoo, is back, but honestly, I lean Ruggs, but
I just want to throw this out there. Tim Patrick right now is questionable for the game. Does that sway you in any way if Tim Patrick is not out there?
for me, it does slightly, because that means that Jerry Jeudy can run a lot of routes down the field, because that was almost reserved for Tim Patrick lately. So I still lean Ruggs, but that does sway me slightly.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd prefer Ruggs still, but that being said, I do have Judy in Dynasty and I'm playing him, so hopefully it's Judy's type of week, but we'll see. I think, like I said, I'm just watching like brief clips of Judy. It just looks like they're not really there yet connection-wise. Judy's look good. Hopefully those route running ability keeps opening up for him, especially with if Tim Patrick is gone for the game and he gets more like downfield opportunities. Maybe he breaks out for a few of those and Lock and hit him, but I guess time will tell on that one.
I also wanted to point out that rather than targeting wide receivers, Drew Lock is heavily targeting tight ends. He targeted Noah Fant 7 times last game and Albert O 7 times last game.
You're not going to attempt that last name?
I
I can try it. You want me to try it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
Albert
for
O.
it.
Okay, hold on. Let me look it up. Is Fant playing this weekend? I thought he got hurt.
Fant played
again.
last week.
Yeah, I thought he got hurt again though.
He's limited in practice.
Okay. Okwe Gabanam.
You're good. Yeah, that was close.
Okwa Igbunam?
Oka Igbunam. I don't know.
Okwu Igbunam. I think that's the proper way to say it.
Albert O.
Alberto. All right.
So yeah. So there was 7 targets to Albert O, 7 targets to Noah Fant, and 3 targets to Nick Vannett. So I'm just saying, like, Drew Lock's loving the tight end life right now. But we can move on from the rookie debate there, because I agree Henry Ruggs would be the play if you're looking for a boom week. I think Judy is probably the safe play for about 50 yards and 3 or 4 receptions. You're probably going to see 1 reception for like 80 yards from Ruggs. So,
Do you have any more, or is that it?
Nope, that's all that I have for you.
Do you guys have any more things before you close out the show?
Is Mike muted? I think Mike's.
Like,
I
am.
Guy's moving his mouth, but nothing's coming out.
Yeah, that's it for me. I can't really think of anything other than that the Bears are going to win.
Go Broncos. Yeah, what's the Thursday game?
Go Browns.
Thursday game is NFC East teams, I think, right?
Yeah.
Panthers and Falcons.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun game for fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the defense on the Panthers is awful, and so is the Falcons' defense. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Hopefully, CMC's back. That'll be electric.
I don't think he will be, but we'll see.
Do you start CMC if he's back?
Of course.
Yep, you have to.
Even if I'm torn, or I don't know if I really want to start him, because it's a Thursday night game, and if he throws up a dud, that's.
But it's the Falcons defense, so I think he doesn't do that.
That is very true.
Yeah. Okay. That's our show, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, as always. We'll be back Friday. Maybe we should release it Saturday, the day before the actual game.
People don't listen to pods on the weekend.
Yeah, so we'll release the gambling show on Friday. Listen to it. Maybe you've never done daily fantasy before, but me and Steve do probably about 5 to 6 contests every weekend.
Oh, heck yeah!
And then I also gamble. Steve kind of chimes in with things that he likes, and I honestly, it's a show that'll make you money, and I really don't know why you wouldn't listen. But give it a listen if you're interested at all. But that's it.
Perfect. So follow us on Twitter at day1football, Instagram day1ff. Subscribe, rate, review the pod. We really appreciate it on all the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and also on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Thanks to everyone listening as always, and have a great day. Peace.
All the cool cats from the alley seem to rally back out, but my heart, my mind, my liver has had quite enough. Almost scared of brain.